This is Trajano Roberto from Media Flamengo for another global news with Ross Felicia. Uh, Thanks, Ross, again for your cooperation and collaboration with Media Flamengo for us to have a quick talk about Flamengo and other football matters.
Hello,
Thank,
Trajano. Pleasure to be back on the show. Thank you very much for having me.
thank you. Yeah, probably it was a World Cup break. The
Yes,
Brazilian
sir.
league, yeah, Brazilian league suspended. Huh?
Yes, everyone's getting the World Cup fever at the moment.
Correct.
Um, I
And
know.
yeah, it's exactly because I think it's mandate from FIFA that no game is allowed to be played while there's a World Cup. That's
Yes,
fair. What do you think about that rule, Ross?
I think. Well, definitely for all the Flamengo and Brazilian fans out there, the focus will be on the national team at the moment. So I think it's perfect to have the break.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Flamengo, always used to have some players play for the national team, but unfortunately, it's been a dry spell and no players managed to make to the Brazilian national team. And I think Diego Ribas is the one that was trying, but didn't make. What do you think about Diego Ribas? As
I, th- I think Diego is a very well established player with much quality. He's the maestro of the midfield at Flamengo, and he's he's a very he's a player that I know very well, playing at Juventus and in the German league as well. So yeah, he's a very good player.
and, I think the Brazilian national coach Tite he prefers a more sort of dynamic midfield, and Diego is getting a little bit old. Maybe it's a bit slow.
I guess he's a little bit injury prone as well,
That's correct.
which is a big concern.
Yeah, it is, especially in a World Cup. You can't afford to be carrying, you know, what can I say, baggage with people injured.
Definitely.
Yeah, Diego missed the last game with Palmeiras one, Flamengo one.
And he was missed solely because the game before he scored the a crucial goal, and
That's correct. Exactly.
he's
And
he's definitely in good form.
yeah, it is. And I guess playing a game in high intensity maybe it was too much on his body, but maybe he can't, play twice a week anymore when the player gets older. And especially in a high intensity of the Brazilian league when Flamengo play away against Palmeiras. And in this game, Ross probably not sure you had a chance to watch because it was during working hours in Melbourne, Australia. And unfortunately, you and me probably couldn't take time off to watch the game.
Yes, I'm disappointed that I missed out on the game, but I saw the result being 1-1. It was a draw. Um,
Correct.
it was a hard fought draw because I did catch the highlights, and yeah, well,
Yeah.
it leaves Flamengo 4 points at the top coming into the break, and Trajano, that's a good position to be in, don't you think?
Yeah, no, it is. And I know there's a lot of Flamengo supporters, want to win every game, but that's not possible. So, yeah, as I said, 4 points clear for the second place. It going into the break, it's a very nice position to be in.
Definitely.
And now, I'm sure you heard about movements, player transfer, when the players that go from Flamengo into Real Madrid.
Yes. Well, I saw the post match interview with Vinicius Junior, and he was very emotional after it, wasn't he, Trajano?
Correct, yeah.
Because
And
the clause was as soon as he turns 18, he moves to Real Madrid. So all the best for him and the future that lies ahead for him.
that's correct. And some Flamengo support still hoping that Real Madrid will let him play until the end of the season. But I think Real Madrid has got a new coach, and probably he want to get all the players and you know go for preseason and maybe keep the players since he's really made to the first 11 for Flamengo. For sure, probably he can at least sit on the bench for Real Madrid.
Well, for sure. Well, as you said, they've got a new manager, Real Madrid, and I think they're going to shift a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of movement, so there's definitely a good opportunity for him there. I think, and yeah, it should be exciting times for him in the Spanish league.
That's right. And there's another player that Flamengo is departing is Felipe Vizeu departing to Udinese in Italy, striker. That was bad move by the Flamengo as a club in selling this player. He has been sold early this year to Udinese, but now he scored in the last 4 games. He scored 3 goals, crucial goals, and yeah, a striker is a player that, especially the one scoring goals, not easy to find. And yeah, I think. What do you think? Selling young striker.
Yes, Felipe Vizil. Did I say it
Correct.
correctly? Yes.
Correct, Felipe Vizeu, yeah.
Well, he's a Brazilian under-20 player as well, and he's scored crucial goals for Flamengo at the age of 21. That's a very good age, and well, Udinese have definitely found themselves a gem. And what was the proposed transfer fee?
I think at the end of the West, it wasn't much because the Flamengo only had, I think, I'm not sure it was 40% or 50%. He actually was signed for a club called America from a state called Minas Gerais when he was probably, I think, was 17 or something like that. And so he came to Flamengo, but when they transfer for another club, the parents and the agent they keep a chunk of his transfer. So Flamengo, I don't think in the end even the transfer wasn't much, and 40%, 50% was even less, as you know.
I think they signed him on a 5-year contract as well. I was reading
In
for
Italy.
in Italy for Udinese.
Yeah, so I think he's honestly he's a type of striker that I don't know why, but the Italians like. He's a sort of wouldn't say the tip. He's got a lot of mobility and is a center forward, similar to that same style of that striker from Roma. Can't remember his name. Dzeko or something like that.
Edin Dzeko. Yes,
Yeah,
so he's very good in the air, but he's also very mobile as well. So
correct. Yeah, so
all round player.
he's
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so it's very similar to that style, and
I think he will
whereas
suit
he's
the
yeah,
Italian league.
so he's physically strong and is in the air. He needs to improve, in my opinion, a lot. And but his goal score, his position in the box to score goals is good. And of course, he still has lots to learn.
Of course.
And, and but I think those two players, Vinicius Junior and Felipe Vizeu, they're pretty much gone. And so Flamengo now back in the transfer market. So there's a lot of talk there, but no concrete information as far as who Flamengo is gonna sign it. Have you heard any other news, Ross?
Well, as you said, the two main players that have departed are strikers. So you'd think that Flamengo would be in the market for some attacking players. Isn't that correct, Trajano?
That's right. Yeah, and there's some positions in the team that Flamengo really needs to strengthen. I think one is, I guess, going on a review with you and me and Ross. I think in the left back, left full back, there's a player that's actually playing for the Peru national team called Trauco, and
Okay.
he's being sort of sitting on the bench. There's another Brazilian player called Rene that's playing as in the starting 11. So this Peruvian player, he's not very happy. I think he wants to move on because he's playing for the national team of Peru, and sitting on the bench for Flamengo, I don't think is in a good position. What do you think?
Well, every player wants to be start in the starting 11, don't they? And if you're playing for the national team, you put yourself on the transfer market, don't you? You're gonna be on notice from all teams around the world,
That's right. Yeah,
especially if you have a good World Cup as well.
exactly. Yeah, he's in defense. He's very very weak, and he's going forward. That's his strength. But if you play as a fullback, you have to be a very well balanced. In my opinion, maybe 60% defense, 40% attack. But yeah, he's probably not that. He probably is probably 60 to 70% attack and 30 to 40% defense. That's not good. Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to ask you, Trajano, is with the money proposed with Vinicius Junior and Felipe Vezil, that's about 50 million all up. Will that money go to Flamengo to buy players, or what will they use that money for?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And Flamengo, unfortunately, the last few years, started back in 2013, was actually, I'm not sure, probably around, 300, 350 million Australian dollars in debt. So the club didn't even have money to pay for water, for utilities.
No.
It's didn't have even money to cut the grass.
So
So
they really started from the bottom, didn't
it
they?
starts from the bottom. So the club it's probably used this money to play for a lot of debts, and hasn't been clarified yet where they're going to use the money. But Vinicius Junior actually was sold in installments. So Real Madrid will play now the last installment early next year to finish up. Uh, so that money is not in the pocket in the bank, and Felipe Vizeu is not much as well because they end up buying another striker, paying more money and worse than Felipe Vizeu. So the money has been spent already. So it's bad,
Investment.
bad investment. Yeah, didn't they sort of bet on a player that really, he was the leader goal scorer in the Brazilian league last year, but yeah, this player doesn't fit the way Flamengo plays. So last game he actually was sitting on the bench because Felipe Vizeu started the game. So what can you do? And assign players without knowing exactly, if it's going to fit or not. It's money wasted. So they got this player's got 4 years contract, and also is high wage, so it's very hard to you know loan the player or transfer to another club because no club is going to pay that amount of money. And the first position is as I said, left back, and they also, I think they're looking for a central defender, from what I heard, because they have three own players, and by bad luck, those three players are injured as well, and so they need to go to the transfer market and get one central defender. I think the last two games Flamengo played with two central defenders from the youth, two young players. They did quite well, but I guess they're a bit scared because the three other ones they get injured very very easily. They're very old, so Flamengo is actually playing on the bench another player from the youth team. So it's three youngsters, two in the starting level, one on the bench. So it's quite risky, né?
What are some of the players that have been thrown around in the transfer market? Any names linked to Flamengo at the moment, Trajano?
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, but the problem is that a lot of false news. People
Yes.
just spread news that to link some players to Flamengo, and so you can't really trust the information because you don't know who is saying what. And there's a lot of talk and people just, a lot of from the media, uh, you know, stating some names, unfortunately, instead of checking. they just throwing names out of nowhere. So a lot of people now lost a bit of trust. No one believes who says what. And but one central defender, one left back, and they also talk about the defensive midfielder and two attackers. That's what last I heard. In terms of names, no, I haven't heard. No, Ross, talk about Flamengo. I think last time I spoke to you off air, you mentioned about the Flamengo shirt, the Flamengo jersey, the colors, and so you quite like the layout of
I,
the
I
shirt.
I love the shirt. The design definitely. It's a really unique design, and the red and black. It's a really compelling jersey. It really stands out. I love the design of it. It's really nice,
Yeah,
and
it is.
I would like to purchase a jersey, Trajano. Where is a place to purchase this jersey? Being coming all the way from Australia.
Yeah, it's a good question. Uh, definitely can be purchased in Brazil. At lucky in Australia, couldn't find, and I'll check maybe in US or England, but check before they only have very old designs, maybe old stock. But I'll definitely help you out. I'll do some research and find where can we obtain this Flamengo jersey because it's a black and red. It's actually uh, when Flamengo is playing, it's actually highlights. It's quite nice on the TV because it's you got the green background of the field and the player wearing red and black. So it's very sort of nice to watch to me as opposed to no disrespect to Palmeiras that plays with a green shirt. It doesn't match with the
Yeah, definitely. I think that was one of the reasons why I did choose Flamengo as my team. I mean, I just love the way that jersey stands out. I mean, it's a simple jersey, but yet it looks very nice and appealing.
yeah, definitely. And also gives the impression of a bit of aggression, like
Definitely.
aggression, not disrespect to white shirts. That's a sort of bit of pale, a bit doesn't.
Speaking of aggression, Trejano, did you happen to catch with the last match? I just want to ask you the brawl with the six players
Ah,
sent
yeah,
off. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
No, yeah,
want to ask
exactly.
you what's your say on that?
Yeah, yeah. Then what happened there is it's got out of control because the game was played at a very high intensity, and there was Palmeiras was sitting six on the ladder, and Palmeiras definitely wanna win at any cost. And then there was a tackle by a Flamengo player. He actually missed the tackle first, but he managed to turn around and he was trying to clear the ball, and then he unfortunately kicked the Palmeiras player, and then the Palmeiras player didn't like it, started pushing, and
It turned a bit ugly, didn't it?
it turned to be ugly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, it's
It,
unfortunately uh,
is there a rivalry between these two teams?
no. I mean, let's say traditionally not. The only things happening recently is Palmeiras. What happened is they have a president that she's got a lot of money, and what happened is that there was some jealous of people that because she's hasn't got any kids and but she owns like a financial organization. They lend money to people and they sponsor Palmeiras, so they're throwing a lot of money on the club.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of people sort of criticizing that because what happens is it can't be sustained because it's just like a like a white knight. Those people that go like and throw money in clubs.
Yeah, she's trying to buy success, whereas Flamengo are building success and and earning it the right way.
Correct.
What
Yeah,
would you say?
because
Yeah.
yeah, in Rio there was another club that was sponsored by like a health insurance organization that when the president of this health insurance, he was of course supported the club. He had a disagreement with the club. He stopped funding, and they almost got relegated. And have a lot of that. So that's and also because they got a very good players. Palmeiras has got a good players, so there's always a bit of I guess jealousy from them. But yeah, this last year, year before, Palmeiras won the championship, and but they have very strong players now. They've been signing good players, so that's why Flamengo was, as I said, the game was playing high intensity, and that tackle there, and the Palmeiras player, he sort of pushed the Flamengo player, and then it started one pushing another one, and one
And I think 6 players in total. They all got involved. And how many players got sent off in the end?
6 players.
6 players. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
correct.
3 from Flamengo, but one player from the bench of Flamengo, and two players from Palmeiras, one from the bench. But the Flamengo player, the bench got he went there to, and someone punching on the head and something like that. And so he was quite agitated there, and he didn't understand why he got a red card because he's the one that got punched. He was very agitated there, and one thing that was a bit disappointing because there was a 5 minutes injury time, and the referee got a bit of scared of losing control. He restarted the game. There was a free kick for Palmeiras. They kicked, but it went out, and there was a goal kick for Flamengo. And as soon as the Flamengo goalie, kick, the referee just finished the game. So there was no additional time. There was a bit of controversy,
Bit of
but
controversy, but do you think the referee made the right call in the end?
I think it made because the first thing, it's very hard when someone goes, for instance, the
Definitely.
Palmeiras player, I guess didn't like the tackle, didn't like so I guess, it's very hard someone push you, you stay quiet, right? So there was a goalie from Palmeiras, he tried to, push up or get his arm around the Flamengo player's neck, and the Flamengo player kicked the guy, and
Yes.
so both got the red card, and the two players that start the the push up also got a red card, and two players coming off the bench trying to, I don't know what they tried to do, throwing punches or whatever, also got red cards, and yeah, it's I think that the only way for the referee to control the game is to give those red cards,
Definitely.
and otherwise it will be very hard. But it was the last game before the break, and so it was a away game for Flamengo. So it wasn't a bad result if you win at home and gain at least 1 point away. That, in my opinion, that's a good form. Of course, you want to win. What do you think, Ross?
Definitely against a top team and a well-respected team like Palmeiras, a draw is a draw away from home is definitely not a result to feel ashamed by at all. And Flamengo, as we said before, 4 points ahead. I think every Flamengo supporter would take that at the start of the season, don't you think, Trajano?
Yeah, no, definitely, especially uh, Flamengo had a very, how can I say, turbulent, with managers. There's a old gentleman a Colombian man that set to quit Flamengo and go to the Chilean national team. Even Chile didn't qualify for the World Cup. But yeah, he didn't like too much pressure being a coach for Flamengo. So he moved on. So they got another coach that coached Flamengo for a long time, but also they sacked him because he made some mistakes. And so if considering that the start of the season, especially not having a head coach that was the preferred one, and going into the break, top of the ladder, 4 points clear, you can't complain, no.
Definitely not. And just a question for you, Trajano. In comparison to all the other teams in the Brazilian league, where how would you say the pressure mounts for a player or a manager for that fact to uh, like the pressure for a player to represent a team like Flamengo compared to representing the other teams in the Brazilian league?
Okay, yeah, no, good, very good question. Flamengo is a club that is the most popular club in Brazil, but the supporters they don't really have patience, and it's quite well known. I think because of the recent past is being sort of underachievers, you're
Mhm.
not winning anything. So any player that doesn't perform, the supporters they start criticizing. Just to give an example, for instance, we are in 2018. Okay, in 2014, 4 years ago, when they had the World Cup in Brazil, just after the World Cup, actually Flamengo was on the bottom of the ladder. Was the last team, last
Wow.
club in the first division of the Brazilian league, and that they sacked the coach. Of course, they got a new coach, and then the coach explained that his goal is to stay in the first division. That was his goal, and so there was a huge improvement for the last 4 years, but no trophies. That's what's being the, how can I say, the
So all the fans are starving for success, you would say.
correct. Is a lot of frustration there, very high frustration and no patience, and any player become very easily, especially the coach, scapegoats, and yeah, they because the pressure start building up if the team is not performing, and all the president, football department, it's they can't handle the pressure because it's too much, and the only way for them to minimize the pressure is to make changes, and then the first one to go is the coach or the manager, and but it's a good question. Yeah, it's unfortunately, but yeah, the Flamengo supporters are well known in Brazil and maybe around the world that they're not very patient. If any other club, if the team's not playing well, the supporters, still go there and try to encourage the players. With Flamengo, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you're not playing well, they start booing the team. And yeah, we have a very well-known example of players that can't handle that psychological pressure, and then they start making mistakes. I mean, for me, it's not sure if you watched the Champions League final, Liverpool and Real Madrid. The goalie from Liverpool, he couldn't handle the pressure.
He couldn't handle the pressure, and he got scrutinized around the world for that.
Exactly, and some people say stage fright, that can't handle that. It's too much pressure there, and the muscles get a bit tight. His decision making is start going a bit astray.
Well, I'm not sure if you caught the Portugal Spain match last night. That was a fantastic match, by the way. And one of the best goalkeepers regarded around the world, David De Gea, he made that mistake for the second goal that Ronaldo scored. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I've seen the yeah, exactly. Yes. So that's another, yeah, and it's unusual because he plays for Manchester United.
So it happens to even the highest quality of players. It's just in common nature for every player to make a mistake.
Exactly, and
Mm.
I think especially in Flamengo, what Flamengo is a club that you know there's a lot of frustration with the supporters because of the lack of trophies. Okay, and a lot of supporters are tense already watching the game and not putting up with let's say players that don't put a good performance, and and what happens on top of that if the player doesn't perform well, and if the club it doesn't perform well, the pressure starts building up, and that starts impacting your decision making process of the player, and it's getting worse. I mean, it's like the pressure builds up, the players are making mistakes, making the wrong decisions, and accumulates. It's getting worse and worse. It's like he can't get out of that trap. I mean, and so that's that's the position sometimes. But if you're gonna play at a big club and you're a professional athlete, you have to be psychologically prepared. Some players just can't handle simple. And but continue, Ross, with the World Cup break, and I think there's not much talk about Flamengo apart from signing new players, and yeah, Flamengo doesn't have any players
But I
playing for
do
the
want to.
national.
Sorry to interrupt, Trajano.
Yep.
I do want to ask you a question, and it's going back to Vinicius Junior. I was also reading that it will not be his decision whether he comes back to Flamengo or stays in Spain. So the decision will not be up to him. Do you think if the decision was up to him that he would choose to stay throughout the rest of the season, knowing that Flamengo has a great chance for success and a title? Do you think he would like to stay at Flamengo?
I mean, it's in my opinion, it depends whoever is instructing the player. Okay, I'm personally, I'm of the opinion that a player you only improve, you only develop if he's playing. And I remember very well some players that even here from Australia goes to Europe to sit on the bench, and you know, not really improve now. If the
It doesn't really help their development, does it?
It doesn't have to develop, and honestly, I don't think Real Madrid or Vinicius Junior will make the starting level of Real Madrid. I mean, he's turning 18 now. He's not near you know a top class player that you need to be to actually be playing for Real Madrid. So I think he's gonna sit on the bench or come someone is injured, or if the if Real Madrid is losing the game, or turn around, or just put like a an impact player. So
Well, well, you have players like Gareth Bale who struggle to make the starting 11. So a
exactly.
team with a team like Real Madrid, it's of course is massive difficulties to make the starting 11 at an age of 17 or 18.
Okay. And honestly, Gareth Bale is far better than he anyway, than Vinicius Junior. So give an example. If Gareth Bale come make it to the start 11, definitely Vinicius Junior won't make it. And but he has potential to develop. But
Definitely potential to be that superstar in the making.
that's right. And now, if he believes me, I think he's probably not in a position to make the best decision for him because he's just a youngster, and because the attracts to be playing for Real Madrid maybe too much, but whoever is giving the right, his parents and probably can't do that either. His player and his agent probably be greedy. He wants the money, He
Hmm.
wouldn't care much for the player. So everyone that understands football probably would tell him to stay with Flamengo until the end of the year because for his long-term benefit, it would be far better. But unfortunately, people going for the short term, especially the
There's a lot.
financial side.
There's a lot of politics involved, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's a lot of politics as well, and yeah, at the end of the day, as you probably know, the player end up being used by other people,
Hmm.
for self promotion or for financial gain, and the player move on. They came when it's good for the team, and then it pushes out, and yeah, it's and there's many examples out there. Players go there, don't make, come back, and never go
I
back to
mean,
where they came from before. Right?
I mean, he's definitely a fan favorite amongst the Flamengo faithful. They were chanting his name, stay Vinicius, during his final match. So he's definitely loved amongst the fans. And I just feel with the position that Flamengo are in this season, they should do within all their powers to keep him throughout the season because he would definitely benefit their side.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess because I think he arrived at Flamengo when he was 8 years old. So he's living now when he's 18. So, Flamengo signs players, very young age. Yeah, you arrive there as 8 years old, and then, you know, you spend 10 years and probably more than half your life inside the club. So
Yeah,
that's a very strong bond between the supporters and the player.
comes a
And
family.
family, correct. And the Flamengo supporters, they really don't. have much patience with players signing from other clubs, but the ones that come from the, you know, so the youth divisions, uh, the supporters really like them, eh? And the same for another player that plays center back. It's got a Swiss background. His parents come from Switzerland. Mateus Tuller or Tiller, I'm not sure how to pronounce in German. He also arrived at Flamengo when he was 8 years old, and now I think he's 18, and he played against Palmeiras himself. He was 18. Another player also called El Duarte, I think he's 21. So it's two center backs, very young. So Flamengo supporters has a lot. They have a lot of patience for those players, but the ones come from other clubs. You got to perform from day one. You got to hit the ground running.
Yeah, they're on
They
the back foot straight away.
back foot straight away. And but yeah, it was a bit quiet now. All the players got a 12 days break on leave, so they all finished up, not even training. Everyone went back to wherever they came from, going to the beach or going to a farm or going to another country to relax. So there's no training, nothing. So it's no. Then also a bit quiet on the news. There's not much happening, but I guess for the first semester, from what Flamengo is how it started the season to where they are now, I think it's a good achievement, good place to be, and let's hope. Ross, just to finish up this live, start the World Cup, and also if you watch Russia trashing Saudi Arabia 5-0, then you have uh, Portugal and Spain 3-0, and I think it was Uruguay beat Egypt 1-0.
Yeah, so well, I've managed to watch every game so far. I've had a couple sleepless nights, but that's what you do during the World Cup season. And yeah, well, it started off with Russia winning 5-0, and I think this World Cup in particular, it's a very even World Cup in terms of like there could be there's a fair group maybe of 8 teams that could potentially win this World Cup. There's no clear favorite, and that's what I find so exciting. And the game between Spain and Portugal was played very attackingly as well. And hopefully that's just a little bit of what's to come in the World Cup, Trajano. We're yet to
Yeah, I think
see Brazil, but what's your expectations on Brazil?
yeah, I think Brazil's got a good side, and I quite confident going to win the first game. I don't think it's going to be that hard to, but football is football. You can't say anything before the game. You gotta respect the opponent, and of course, you gotta be confident in your own ability and not be afraid. But you gotta be respectful because you can't sort of undermine the opponent. If you do that, you give another reason for the opponent to beat you. Eh? And what about the huge game for Australia tonight? France playing France. And what do you think about this game, Ross?
Well, I come in with not a lot of expectation for Australia to get a result. I mean, my heart says that a draw would be amazing, but France, with all their superstar players that play in Europe, I think that Australia will play very defensive minded. I'm hoping that they go out to attack, but they'll play very defensively and try and hit France on the counter attack. I'm very excited for the match, but I think France are one of the favourites to win the World Cup, and I expect them to win comfortably.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, what are the notes? Even Flamengo and play against Palmeiras, and you, in case of Australia, you really need to have a quality up front because when the opportunity presents itself, and if you can't convert, you don't, you won't have 20 or 10 chances to convert one. It'll be few, and when the opportunity presents, you gotta make sure you take and convert, and that's if you don't have quality players, that's when you you miss, and you won't create a lot of chances. So you're going to create few chances. Then you haven't
That's
got a place that will capitalize on that. Huh?
that's correct, especially for the game tonight for Australia. There'll be very few chances, so hopefully we can be clinical for every chance that we take.
That's right. And so that's why, sometimes when you play a stronger team, you got to really, like Portugal had at least Ronaldo that could convert. The team was quite average for Portugal, but we had one player that could make a difference. If you don't have that player, this you have no hope.
Well, I think throughout the match, Spain were the more dominant side, but as you say, for Ronaldo regarded as the best or one of the best players in the world, and he proved why. Even being 33 years old, he's still, I think, the most clinical footballer in the world.
If you see that first goal, man, he did a step over, they got a penalty, converted. Second one, but he kicked the ball. The Spanish goalie made a mistake. That's not Ronaldo's problem.
he, he'll take that one every
he'll,
day, I think.
he'll take that exactly. It's just not that that's the Spanish goalie's problem though.
I
And
have yeah. I have to ask you: did you catch the Luis Suarez incident? There's always
now,
controversy whenever he's involved. Apparently, he grabbed one of the Egyptian players in the lower regions. Um, I mean, he's known to. I remember watching the last World Cup. He bit the Italian defender Chiellini,
that's
and he's got that brain phase. I mean, the quality player that he is, but he seems to do all these stupid things on the field.
yeah. No, he's a really sometimes like an idiot. Can't control his own. I've seen when he has a bit of it's a bit of I don't know what the guy has in his mind. But now I watched the first half only. It was 0-0 Uruguay and Egypt, then went to bed. And we're going to record the game. I might watch later on. And yeah, but let's see this game. Maybe at least a draw with France. Australia have a draw with France. It won't be a bad result.
I do think that Australia has a very good chance of qualifying to the knockout stages. Our form has been, I'm not sure if you've seen, but our form leading up has been very, very good in the practice matches. And we've got a well established manager from Netherlands. He actually reached the final in 2010, I believe. The Bert van Marwijk. So he's a good manager for Netherlands and now Australia. So hopefully Australia can cause an upset. What do you think, Trajano? Can they cause an upset?
I think it's what is countries like Australia playing there. If you have a good coach and the coach can make adjustments, a dynamic adjustment during the game, then you really have a chance because you can never get right. You expect your opponent playing a certain way. I'm sure the French coach has his game plans, and the Dutch coach for Australia has his game plans. You're expecting how France is going to start the game, and he can make some adjustment there to take advantage of any weakness that he perceives on the French side because no one is perfect. And yeah, if he's able to make those adjustments and take advantage, then you really have a chance.
And
But
hopefully there could be a case of France underestimating Australia and Australia. One thing I do know is that they won't go down without a fight. They will
right.
definitely give all their effort.
Yeah, I think definitely is a chance. But the only thing that has to happen when the chance can maybe a half chance, you really need to convert. It won't be many, and against a quality opponent like France, you're not gonna get more than 10 chances for you to score one, and they're not gonna give you that. And
That's correct.
now, if Australia has really quality up front to
That,
punish France, that's I'm not that confident in.
well, that's correct. I don't think Australia. I mean, we got Tim Cahill, who is every bit of almost 40 years old, as one of our strikers, our main strikers. So we're definitely lacking um, the strike power in. I think our midfield is pretty solid. We've got some Premier League established players, but our strike force is a little bit weak, you would say. I mean, if there's any Brazilian players out there that want to play for Australia, I'll take them all day.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to organize a team, in defense, play compact, defense and midfield, and negate space to the opponent. It's quite, it's quite sort of easy, especially the Dutch coach is quite experienced. He'll probably, be able to, give instructions to those players how to play compact and, minimize any space to France. Now, the hard part is to teach them to convert goals when opportunity comes. Then for the Australian attackers, that's you can't teach. You can't, you just tell people go there and score the goals, but the player himself has to know how to score. Whereas the defense, you can adjust, you can give instructions, do this, do that. A player moves there, you do this. So the defense you can teach, but the attackers how to score is hard. But you never know. I mean, you go a counter attack, a play on the wing, put a cross, and Australia striker face to face with a point blank with the goalie from the other team and kick with the goal open. I mean, on paper that's not that hard. I don't know.
You just never know. That's why we love this sport, because there has been many upsets before in the World Cup tournaments. Big teams have been upset before, and that's what I'm hoping for tonight. You just never know. It's a game of 90 minutes, and anything can happen.
Exactly. I think Australia, if plays with a high intensity, compact, you can't make mistakes at the back. You just cannot make mistakes, because the two ways for the opponent to score, of course, create chances and convert, or taking advantage of a mistake. And so you're there. You play until the game. Football always change momentum, regardless if you haven't got a strong side. You're gonna have your moments, and you take advantage, and you end up scoring goals. So, and football is a game that regardless of how strong, how weak you are, you always have a chance, and you got to believe. The players got to believe and play with a lot of discipline.
Well, that's it. And one thing I can say is Australia has got nothing to lose. They're coming in as the underdogs, so there's no expectation at all. So the pressure should be relieved from them.
That's right. And
yeah.
so I think that's it's a prime time here in Australia, 8 p.m.
Good, 8 p.m. the match.
Good time to watch. And I think this other game, 11 o'clock, I think it's Argentina playing. I'm not sure.
Iceland, I believe. Yeah. It's Argentina versus Iceland.
Iceland, and Iceland is 100,000 people there. Yeah. That should be a hard task for Argentina.
Well, they shocked. I think they shocked England in the Euros. So, so you just never know in this sport.
Yeah, you play cold as ice, should be okay. And go there, just don't panic, and just cool as a cucumber, how they say it.
Cool as a cucumber.
And just play solid, bit physical, I mean, just try to go for 50-50 and to win at any cost. And, so slowly there you can, maybe a corner, you ball, a defender or a striker heads the ball, score. The ball go in a box in a corner. It's a bit of gamble, You never know. No?
And Trajano, I have a question for you. Diego Costa, obviously Brazilian born, you saw that he scored two clinical goals for Spain. And what's your thoughts on him? And do you think he'd make the starting 11 for Brazil?
Yeah, now what happens with this particular player, Diego Costa, is in the last World Cup, I think it was back in 2013, what happened is Diego Costa was actually, being considered for the Brazilian national team and also for the Spanish national team. So, of course, being a Brazilian, he had a preference to play for Brazil. And then there was a friendly game in China, organized by Nike, the shirt supplier for Brazilian national team. And the Brazilian coach had Diego Costa to play that friendly, but he decided not to play him. And so he got upset. I mean, he said that he didn't feel that he was being appreciated by the Brazilian national coach, and because of that, he got upset and he decided to play for Spain.
Which he was eligible to play for because of his time playing in Spain. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he became, I think he became a national Spanish citizen, and also he was playing Spain already. I think you have to be there 2 years. That's the rule. Huh? And so he was there 2 years, and then for him to become a national citizen was easy.
So what's your thoughts on players from other countries representing different national teams? I know Italy, for instance, they've had a few Brazilian players in the past play for them, and it seems to be a trend in recent times for the national teams.
Yeah, I think they attract because they can get a passport. Huh?
Yes,
And
that's correct.
that's the main thing. I'm not sure if you noticed in Spain, actually, they had two Brazilian players. There was Diego Costa and there was the guy Thiago.
Thiago, his father played for Brazil and won the World
Correct.
Cup for Brazil. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I think it was on TV. He was born in Italy because his Mazin was playing Italy, and then he moved to Spain. But he's got a Brazilian passport, and he was, of course, born outside Brazil, and I think it was in the Barcelona, youth team, and so he decided to play for Spain, and Portugal had also Pepe. He's a Brazilian player. I'm not sure you know that. This is central
Yes. Oh,
defender.
yes. I actually did know that. Yes.
Yes. And so those players, they go there, they get attracted by the citizenship and be able to have the passport. So giving them an option to live in Europe legally, of course, and so that's why
They're
they go there,
eligible. Yeah.
eligible to play there, and also I guess because Brazil got trashed by Germany last World Cup, is a bit flat as well, playing for the Brazilian national team. So there's not a lot of enthusiasm, and so
I
people.
think. What do you think? I think with the core of Brazilian players that they have now, it's compared to that thrashing of Germany, it's a different team altogether, isn't it? Definitely much more enthusiasm
Yes.
involved.
I think the attacking is a bit strong, but the midfield is a bit. Is not a lot of creativity. He's playing a different style. He's playing the Brazilian national coach. He's playing with
More holding players.
more
Would you
holding
say?
players.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and he's relying on I guess, talent or creativity for the three front players to score as opposed to create something, but just like like an instant of genius type of thing to you know to win games. That's the strategy basically, and the defense is a bit. I wouldn't say it's very very solid. I mean, he's got a Miranda play in Spain, also Thiago Silva play in France.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I think the goalkeeper Allison, he plays for Roma,
that's
and
right.
I think he's on his way to join Real Madrid. If you read the latest rumors for 75 million.
Yeah, okay, no, I haven't seen that one. But he leaked field goals against Liverpool, huh? And so it's a bit of yeah. It's on a bad day, nothing you can do. You just couple goals, more goals, and the World Cup is if you have a bad game, that's it. You're out. Come back in 4 years if you qualify. There's no
The
second chance.
guarantees.
Yeah, you know, you had a bad game. That's it. That's finish the game. That's it. Have shower, pack, and go home because there's
There's no second chance
no
in
second chance.
the
So
World Cup.
you gotta be on the top. Also, you can't make mistakes. You, you make mistakes there. You get punished because
Well,
it's
you got the whole world watching you, and
exactly. I mean, the first goal from Diego Costa, uh, in my opinion, I wouldn't say a mistake, but he sort of pushed that guy Pepe. He started crying on the field, and it was 1-on-1 with the other Portuguese defender. I mean, you have no chance because he just turned him inside out. And
I think it was a great goal. I mean, Pepe should feel to blame because well, if you see the replay, he was holding the top of his head, but I don't think Diego Costa even touched the top of his head. So, yeah,
and you got
if he stood up, maybe there would have been more of a chance to defend that situation.
and you
But
also
credits,
have to play to the whistle. He
exactly. Yeah,
just collapsed on the ground there and they started raising his hand. What for? And then it was 1-on-1. It's the Portuguese defender should hold. He didn't. I don't know. He messed up himself. The Portuguese defender, and then the cost cut inside again
and he
and
was clinical. So
and
credit to him.
so that's what happened in World Cup is you gotta be clinical in your on the opportunities to convert, and of course a top class player like Cristiano Ronaldo makes big difference because he create a goal for nothing. I mean, there was no build up from Portuguese at all. It's just himself, you know, doing things there that managed to score goals. But the first goal was a step over. Second one was, yeah, guess a goalkeeper from Spain made
He,
a big
he
mistake there, and the free kick there.
well, the
So
free kick just was just he just hit that perfectly, didn't he?
exactly, but they commit. He is the one that suffered the fall. That we was top of the box moving away, and then Spanish defender tried to tackle and missed the ball.
Yeah, it was PK who tackled him, and
Yeah,
they just knew to give away a free kick in that situation. You just don't do that when you got
yeah,
someone like Ronaldo
yeah.
involved. Yeah,
So that was a goal scoring opportunity, and he just took. Didn't the ball ended up in the back of the net, not rose that in the stadium like many other players would probably kick the ball and end up on the top of the stadium. And but let's see, Ross first to finish this live here. So he's just quite confident that Australia will have a good result against France.
I would say I'm more hopeful than confident, but I'll definitely be cheering on Australia, and a draw would be perfect.
Yeah, draw. I think is at least that one because if you lose the game, you're already on the back foot. A
As
draw.
as as long as we don't get smashed against France, because goal difference could be a key factor in terms of qualifying as well.
That's right. And then things gonna start heating up now. 3 games every day,
Definitely,
and
it's exciting times. Definitely.
and first round and the second round and the third one to go to the next stage. That's when the thing's gonna. Yeah, probably a lot of people don't realize, but when you play, you know, it's a big difference. You playing a league. Sometimes you can afford to lose one game here and there, but it's a cap. A cap is no space and no room for people making mistakes. And
No, because they'll be sent home.
sent home and come back in 4 years, even if you have to qualify again.
That's it.
Come back.
It's no. I mean, we saw Italy. Italy didn't qualify first time in 50 years, and me being of Italian background, I was devastated. So there's just no guarantees to even. You wait 4 years, and there's no guarantees for your country to make it unless you're hosting it, of course.
That's right. Same for Holland, huh?
Same for Holland. Same for Chile in the
Yep.
South American
U-
continent.
USA.
USA. Many big teams did not qualify in this World Cup.
Exactly. And so that's it. Didn't make. Come back 4 years if you qualify. That's how it is. No, no second division for the World Cup. That's it.
It's a long time.
It's a long time
A
and
very long time.
a long time and had a bad game and also when you go to the finals because it's called World Cup finals, you want at least make something, not just go there and then cop three losses and go home. You gotta show some. It's play for everything you can. Just commit to everything.
You're playing for your nation. That's what I love. I mean, I I do enjoy the domestic leagues and but there's something about the World Cup that just it just makes you just so passionate to watch it.
Yeah, it is, and I guess you see in
Awesome.
Russia now everyone there and all different countries and people waving flags there. So it's a mix of different people. Exactly. To Ross, for us to finish this live, what's your final commentary or your expectation? Flamengo after the break and
Well,
second semester of the year. How do you think of Flamengo?
Firstly, thanks once again for having me on, Trajano. It's been a pleasure, and I, what I can say to Flamengo supporters is have a lot of optimism because I think there's exciting times ahead. 4 points ahead on top of the second coming into the break. Hopefully, during the transfer period, we can sign those quality players that we need, especially in the attacking front, and just stay optimistic because I think that hunger for a title could be around the corner.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we have a long stint without winning anything. When you have a chance, you gotta try to grab that and convert, and and really get a trophy. There's no really time for wasting opportunities, because the graveyard is full of people with good intentions. So
Exactly.
you can't really. Excellent. All right, Rosa, appreciate your time again, and let's hope that Flamengo in the second semester, that's when we say the business end of the season. Flamengo is playing three competitions. One is the league, Brazilian League. Now one is called Brazilian Cup, and third one is a South America Cup called Copa Libertadores. That's in
So
the
many competitions,
in
many
competition.
to win silverware.
Exactly, and people saying that the previous manager for the football department, or the director, he got end up getting the sack because he didn't understand. He said, "Oh, we're gonna pick one comp and try to win that." No, there's no really comp to be picked. You gotta try to win all you can. I mean, that's the way I believe should be played. And but also, as I said, thank you very much again for your uh, cooperation and your time. And let's hope that Australia plays well against France.
Fingers crossed. I'd just like to say, let's go Australia, let's go Brazil, and
Yep,
Flamengo.
that's it. Excellent. Well said. Nação Trajano Roberto from Media Flamengo, direct from Melbourne, Australia, with Ross Fileccia, also a Flamengo supporter. And how they say in Brazil, Flamengo top of the ladder, follow the leader. Saudações rubro-negras. Bye for now.